Welcome to the PI show. My name's Harry Nowicki. I'm a personal injury lawyer. I'm here together with Tony Carbone.
Welcome, viewers.
Who's another personal injury lawyer of many years' experience.
Quite a few years,
and we're here again with our guest from last week, who is an up-and-coming lawyer, Alice O'Kane.
Welcome, Alice.
Thanks very much, guys.
And tonight, again, we're going to continue our topic on the Wrongs Act and public liability and what sort of rights people have with if they are injured in a public place.
Yes.
Tony, before that, there's some news, I believe, that is of interest to lawyers.
Yeah, I think the first biggest piece of news of late has been the new Prime Minister. She's a former plaintiff lawyer, Harry. Used to work at Slater and Gordon, did her articles there. So I think that gives us some hope. Well, Alice, you got something to aspire to there?
Oh, we'll see.
Well, the first thing we're pleased about, I suppose, as lawyers is we've got a lawyer as a Prime Minister. So she was a partner at a law firm that we know.
Personal injury lawyer too.
They are well known around Australia in personal injury law. And she then left there and has had a career in politics. I personally knew her when she was at the law firm. I used to see her around the courts.
Well, you must have given her good advice, Harry. She's kicked on in a bit.
Well, she's dare I say, she's flourished. And as I say, as lawyers, we're probably reasonably pleased that there's a lawyer as Prime Minister. Although John Howard was a suburban lawyer from New South Wales, and we've got mixed feelings about him.
Yeah, I think so. The other piece of news, Harry, too, I mean, we'll move on from
lawyers in politics.
Yes. Look, there's been concern in the news about the effects of 3D TV on people's eyesight and all sorts of things. They're complaining about headaches, eye strain, nausea, dizziness. And what a chief ophthalmologist at the Eye and Ear Hospital has said is that before you go and purchase one of these TVs, you should really just have a close look at how it could affect you. What he's recommending is that you get in there, have a 10-minute test or something to see how it affects you personally, because, look, I don't think they know enough about the long-term effects of 3D TVs, but it's something that's out there. The warning is there.
And Alice, you say that one of the shops in Melbourne has signs.
Yes, I walked past a shop the other day, Harry, which had a sign out the front saying, "Do be careful if you're going to buy a 3D television. They have been known to have effects, so come in and talk to us about it." So they're right onto it straight away.
Well, they've probably got some legal advice, dare I say, from defendant lawyers.
No doubt.
In 20 years' time, we'll all be cross-eyed or,
Well, some of us may never get to 3D TV, and we're very pleased. Channel 31's made the next leap forward, which is for digital TV.
That's right.
But I don't think will we be on 3D, Tony?
Yeah, I think so. I'm still very, very young there, Harry.
Right. We might make it. Following on from last week, Alice, we were discussing public liability and people having trips, falls, injuries in public places. One prominent area would be footpaths.
That's right.
And the High Court, I think in about 2002...
2001, 2002.
Had a decision which sets the framework of the common law.
That's right.
Which is Brodie's case.
And there was the one that flowed from that, Harry, Gantus.
They heard the two cases together.
Right. The two cases were heard together, Harry.
And what happened to Mr. Brodie?
Mr. Brodie, Harry, he was driving a 22-tonne truck full of goods along in the Singleton Shire it was, and he drove the truck over a bridge that had a weight limit of about 15 tonnes. Now, the problem was that the bridge was very old, it was made of wood, and the supports of the bridge had been eaten by termites, and the bridge collapsed, unfortunately, and the truck was damaged, and Mr. Brodie himself was injured.
Not sure whether he had a substantial injury, I can't remember the quantum, but he succeeded.
He did succeed, Harry, and it was a very interesting council case because the High Court found that the council had taken steps to replace some parts of the bridge, such as the boards where the truck rolls over, but they hadn't looked into the supports of the bridge. So they had done what the court considered in effect a half sort of finished job on the repairs.
It was
Misfeasance, that's correct.
which means they
Defective repairs.
took it upon themselves and didn't do a good job.
That's right. They didn't finish the job, so to speak, and the court found them liable on that basis.
And if they had have done nothing, non-feasance.
If they had have done nothing, it is likely that they wouldn't have been found liable for the damage to the truck or the injury to Mr. Brodie.
Unless there was complaints made.
That's right.
Unless they're on
And
notice.
they did nothing
Yes.
to inspect and make a decision on whether they should get something repaired.
Yes, or take
Yes.
any steps. All about knowledge, Tony, as we
I
know.
think that's right.
But Mrs. Gantos in the High Court, I don't think did succeed.
No, that's correct, Harry. Mrs. Gantus, she was an elderly lady who was walking along the footpath, and she stepped aside during her walk to let somebody else pass, and there was a 5 centimetre gap distance between the footpath and the ground next to it, and she fell on that and injured herself. And the High Court found essentially that she couldn't recover damages because the council had not constructed a defective footpath, and therefore nothing needed to be done, and they couldn't be found liable.
And I think the High Court observed that she should have been looking out where she was stepping,
That's correct.
and the
50 millimetres or 5 centimetres, but
was an obvious risk.
Yes, I was more, Harry, about the fact that if she had have been looking where she was stepping, she wouldn't have fallen over.
it's a real problem, isn't it? Because if the thing that causes you to fall is not obvious, they say you shouldn't have fallen over.
That's right.
And if the thing you fall over is obvious, they say you should have seen it.
That's right.
So you're caught between the devil and the deep blue sea, holding.
That's correct. It's a very difficult thing to
So really what you need is you almost got to have a situation where there's a hidden trap, maybe it's after dark, leaves covering up the...
Grass growing over
grass
it.
growing over it.
Or something that, like a Telstra pit where you'd think if you walk on it, it's
Good
stable,
example,
but
Harry.
A
it's
piers level?
At piers level.
Yes, but
Or
if
no, it could be
is
a pit
unstable-
where the cover's on top and you step on it and it just shoots up.
That's
Yeah,
correct.
that's been known to happen.
right.
Yeah.
They call
That's-
those hidden defects,
yeah.
and those hidden defects are the key to getting yourself damages against a council.
But I think the thing is this, if you do sustain a nasty injury, you should get advice because gathering the evidence early in the piece is going to be pretty critical to try
That's
to succeed
right.
in these sorts of claims.
And to be advised properly, we need to do the investigation. So if you've got a nasty injury, it's important to let someone know.
We're going to have to go to a sponsors break soon, but after that I think we should just
We're
move
coming
on.
back to
we'll go
some-
from the
some more
councils
instant cases.
to maybe
The
an
Occupy.
Occupy situation. So anyway, look, viewers, keep watching, don't go away. We're going off to a sponsors break. Thank you. Be back shortly.